From the sterile chill of the hospital room, my life's purpose crystallized. I'm Alina, and this is where my story truly begins. Not with the fairy tale romance I'd imagined, but with words that would forever change me. You're useless to me now. Gabriel's voice was flat, emotionless. He stood at the foot of my hospital bed, designer suit pristine, as if he hadn't spent the last 6 hours in the waiting room while I lost our baby. What? My throat was raw from crying. The monitors still beeped steadily beside me, a cruel reminder that while my heart was still beating, something precious had stopped. I married you to have children, Alina. That was the deal. He checked his Rolex, not even looking at me. The doctors said there might be complications with future pregnancies. I can't waste time waiting around to see if you'll ever be able to carry to term. The nurse who had been adjusting my IV froze, her hand hovering over the tubing. I saw fury flash across her face before she schooled her features into professional neutrality. Gabriel, please. My voice cracked. We can try again. We can adopt. There are options. I've already called my lawyer. He finally met my eyes, and I saw nothing there. No love, no grief, just cold calculation. The papers will be ready tomorrow. I suggest you sign them quickly. It'll be easier for both of us. The nurse stepped between us. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. My patient needs rest. Gabriel straightened his tie. Of course. Goodbye, Alina. The door clicked shut behind him with terrible finality. What a piece of work, the nurse muttered, checking my vitals. Honey, do you want me to call someone? I nodded numbly, and she handed me my phone. My fingers trembled as I dialed. Mom? The word came out as a sob. Alina? What's wrong, sweetheart? My mother's warm voice made the dam break. Can you come? Please? I lost the baby. And Gabriel, he's leaving me. That bastard. I heard keys jingling in the background. I'm on my way. Don't you move a muscle. The nurse, her nameplate read Sarah, squeezed my hand. Your mom's coming? Good. I'll bring you some tea. The next few hours passed in a blur. My mother arrived like an avenging angel, all 5'2" of her bristling with protective fury. She held me while I cried, stroked my hair like she did when I was small. I knew that man was wrong for you from the start, she said, pulling back to look at me. But listen to me, Alina. This is not the end of your story. This is just the beginning. How can you say that? I gestured at the hospital room, the monitors, my own broken body. I've lost everything. Everything? She raised an eyebrow. You've lost a husband who never deserved you and a baby who is too precious for this world. But you haven't lost yourself. You haven't lost your mind, your strength, your determination. I don't feel very strong right now. Then borrow mine until yours comes back. She gripped my hands. You remember what I always told you about karma? That it's a patient accountant, I whispered, managing a weak smile. Exactly. And someday when you're ready, you'll balance those books. She reached into her bag and pulled out a notebook and pen. For now, we plan. We rebuild. We rise. Looking at that simple notebook, something shifted inside me. The raw wound of loss was still there, but alongside it, a seed of purpose took root. First, I said, taking the pen, I need a good divorce lawyer. Mom smiled. That's my girl. And then, I paused, the pen hovering over the blank page. I think I want to become one. A lawyer? She nodded slowly. You always did love arguing your case. For the first time since the nightmare began, I felt a flicker of something like hope. I want to help people who've been wronged. I want to make sure justice is served. Justice? Mom's eyes twinkled. Or revenge? Maybe both. I started writing, my handwriting growing stronger with each word. But first, I need to get out of this hospital. One step at a time, sweetheart. She settled into the chair beside my bed. One step at a time. As night fell over the city, I kept writing. Plans, dreams, goals, each word a brick in the foundation of my new life. Gabriel thought he'd destroyed me, but he'd only cleared the ground for something stronger to grow. I am Alina, and this is where my story begins. Not with an ending, but with a promise to myself. Someday, the books would balance, and Gabriel would learn exactly what he'd thrown away. In his eyes, I saw echoes of who I once was, and who I could still become. Jonathan sat across from me in the law school library, his textbooks spread across the table like a paper fortress. "You're going about this all wrong," he said, tapping my case brief. "The precedent isn't in Thompson v. State. Look at the Marshall case from '98. 3 years had passed since the hospital room, and I was halfway through law school, running on caffeine and determination. I'd met Jonathan in constitutional law, where his brilliant arguments caught my attention, and my relentless questioning caught his. The Marshall case? I flipped through my notes. But that was about corporate fraud, not personal liability. Exactly. He leaned forward, eyes bright with enthusiasm. Think bigger, Alina. Sometimes the best path isn't the obvious one. A group of first years shuffled past our table, looking shell-shocked from their latest exam. I remembered that feeling, but now it was replaced by something else. Purpose. "Speaking of thinking bigger," Jonathan said, closing his book, "there's an internship opening at my father's firm. Corporate law, mostly real estate deals." I shook my head. "I'm focusing on family law, remember?" "Are you?" He gave me that penetrating look that always made me feel transparent. "Or are you focusing on one particular family law case?" My pen stilled. "What do you mean?" "I've seen you researching Gabriel's company. Don't deny it. You're not as subtle as you think." Heat crept up my neck. "I'm just keeping informed." "Alina." Jonathan reached across the table, his hand covering mine. "You're brilliant, driven, and capable of so much more than spending your career fixing other people's broken marriages. Take the internship. Learn how money really works. Then, if you still want to pursue family law, you'll have a broader arsenal at your disposal." Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Sienna. "Turn on the business news. Now." I pulled out my laptop. Jonathan moving to my side of the table as I found a live stream. There was Gabriel, standing at a podium, announcing his company's expansion into international markets. "Our future has never been brighter," he was saying, that familiar, confident smile in place. "With these new partnerships, we're positioned to double our market share within 5 years." "Interesting timing," Jonathan murmured, right after that merger with Pacific Holdings fell through. I turned to him sharply. "How do you know about that?" "My father's firm handled the due diligence. Let's just say there were irregularities in the books." The library suddenly felt too small, too quiet. "Tell me more." "Over dinner?" His smile was gentle but knowing. "There's a new place downtown. Great wine list, better conversation." I hesitated. Since Gabriel, I'd kept my walls high, my focus narrow. But Jonathan had never tried to scale those walls. He just kept showing up, offering friendship, insight, and now possibly the key to understanding Gabriel's world. "Okay," I said. "But I'm not drinking wine on an empty stomach. And this isn't a date." "Of course not." He gathered his books, amusement dancing in his eyes. Just 2 future lawyers discussing corporate finance over pasta. That evening changed everything. Over linguine and, yes, wine, Jonathan laid out the complex web of corporate law that could make or break companies like Gabriel's. With each detail, each potential vulnerability, I felt my perspective shifting. "You're right," I admitted as we walked back to campus. "I've been thinking too small." "You've been thinking like someone who is wronged," he said. "Start thinking like someone who wants to right those wrongs. Properly, legally, and absolutely." I stopped walking, studying his face in the streetlight. "Why are you helping me?" "Because I recognize that look in your eyes. It's the same one I had when my mother left us for her yoga instructor, taking half the family fortune." He shrugged. The difference is I learned to channel it into something constructive. Let me help you do the same. And the internship is legitimate. You'd be amazing at it. The fact that it might help you understand how to legally dismantle someone's empire is just a bonus. I laughed. Really laughed. For the first time in what felt like years. You're dangerous, you know that? I prefer to think of myself as strategic. He offered his arm. Shall we head back? We have that ethics exam tomorrow, which is ironic given our conversation. Taking his arm, I felt something shift inside me, like pieces of a puzzle finally clicking into place. Jonathan? Thank you. For seeing me as I am, not as what happened to me. He squeezed my hand. Always. Now about that ethics exam. We walked back to campus, discussing legal precedents and moral obligations, while in my mind, new possibilities began to take shape. Gabriel had taught me about loss. Jonathan was teaching me about power. And somewhere between the two, I was learning about justice. Every secret buried beneath layers of deception was a step closer to reckoning. I stood in my corner office, watching the city lights flicker to life as dusk settled over downtown. 7 years had transformed me from a broken woman into one of the city's most formidable corporate attorneys. Alina? Elisa knocked on my open door, manila folder in hand. You need to see this. I turned from the window. The audit reports? She closed the door behind her, voice dropping. Better. Remember that tip about Gabriel's offshore accounts? I found something interesting in his company's subsidiary filings. My heart quickened, but I kept my voice steady. Show me. Elisa spread the documents across my desk. See these transactions? They're routing money through shell companies in the Cayman Islands. But look at the dates. They align perfectly with the failed Pacific Holdings merger. I murmured, scanning the numbers. Jonathan was right. There's more. Elisa pulled out another document. I spoke to Jonah's assistant. You know, Gabriel's business partner? She's been keeping records of some questionable meetings. My phone buzzed. Jonathan. Hey, love. Still at the office? Just wrapping up. Found something interesting. Good interesting or bad interesting? I smiled. Come over tonight? I'll tell you everything. Already on my way, bringing takeout from that Thai place you love. After hanging up, I turned back to Elisa. How solid is this evidence? She straightened her glasses. Solid enough to trigger an SEC investigation. But Alina? She hesitated. Are you sure you want to do this? Once we start, there's no going back. I've been waiting 7 years for this, Elisa. I'm ready. Then you should know. Gabriel's getting married. The words hit like a physical blow. What? It's all over the society pages. To Andrea Steele, the real estate heiress. The wedding's in 3 months. I sank into my chair, memories flooding back. My own wedding to Gabriel, the promises he'd made, the future he'd stolen. Alina? Elisa's voice was gentle. Maybe this is a sign to let it go. You've built an amazing life. You have Jonathan, the firm, respect. And Gabriel has faced no consequences. I cut in. He destroyed me and walked away without a scratch. Now he's about to do it again to someone else. You don't know that. I know Gabriel. I stood up, gathering the documents. Get me everything you can on Andrea Steele. And Elisa? Thank you. She paused at the door. Just be careful. Revenge has a way of burning both ends. Later that night, I laid out everything for Jonathan over pad thai and wine. He listened intently, asking occasional questions, his real estate developer's mind catching details I'd missed. The timing's perfect, he said finally. With the wedding coming up, he'll be distracted. Vulnerable. You don't think it's too much? He set down his wine glass. Honey, he left you in a hospital bed after losing your baby. He deserves whatever's coming. Elisa thinks I should let it go. And what do you think? I stood, walking to our apartment's floor-to-ceiling windows. Below, the city pulsed with life, each light representing someone's story, someone's truth. I think about that nurse, I said quietly. The one who was there when Gabriel left. How angry she was on my behalf. I think about other women like Andrea, walking into marriages built on lies. Someone needs to expose the truth. Jonathan came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. Then do it. But do it smart. Do it legally. Make it stick. I will. I leaned back against him. I've learned from the best, after all. Flatterer. He kissed my neck. Want to run through the plan? We spent the next hour mapping it out. The evidence would go to the SEC, but not yet. First, we'd need to position everything perfectly. The wedding would provide the perfect stage, all of Gabriel's business associates, investors, and society friends in one place. You know what this means? I said, looking at our notes. I'll have to see him again, face to face. Are you ready for that? I thought about the hospital room, about the years of pain and rebuilding, about the woman I'd become. Yes, I said firmly. I'm not that broken girl anymore. I'm stronger now, smarter. And married to someone far more handsome, Jonathan added, making me laugh. That too. I gathered the documents into my briefcase. Tomorrow I'll have Elisa start the official paperwork. In 3 months, Gabriel's perfect world comes crashing down. And you? Jonathan asked softly. What happens to you after? I looked at him, at the life we'd built together, at the woman I saw in the mirror every morning. After? I finally close that chapter for good, and write a new one. The city lights twinkled below, witnesses to my promise. The countdown to Gabriel's wedding had begun. Justice demanded more than knowledge. It demanded action. I sat in a cafe across from Jonah, Gabriel's business partner, watching him fidget with his coffee cup. 7 years had carved worry lines around his eyes, and his designer suit couldn't hide his nervous energy. I shouldn't be here, he said, glancing over his shoulder. If Gabriel finds out, he won't, I assured him, unless you tell him. Why now, Alina? After all these years? I slid a folder across the table. Because of this. Bank statements, offshore accounts, falsified records. You're not just his partner, Jonah. You're his accomplice. His face went pale as he flipped through the pages. How did you get these? Does it matter? What matters is that the SEC will get them too. Unless what? Hope flickered in his eyes. Unless you help me make things right. I leaned forward. Tell me everything. For the next hour, Jonah talked. About Gabriel's schemes, the investors he'd defrauded, the women he'd used. Each word confirmed what I'd suspected. Nothing had changed. He was still the same calculating predator who'd left me in that hospital room. My phone buzzed. Sienna. Hey, I'm outside. Still meeting? Just finishing. Come in. Jonah stiffened when Sienna approached our table. I should go. One more thing, I said. Andrea Steele. What does she know? Nothing. He wouldn't meet my eyes. She thinks he's perfect, just like you did. Sienna slid into the vacant seat as Jonah hurried away. Well, he looked terrified. He should be. I showed her the notes I'd taken. Everything Elisa found was true. And worse. Alina. Sienna hesitated. I've known you since college. You're my best friend. But this path you're on, are you sure it's worth it? You didn't see Andrea's interview in the society pages? Gabriel is everything I've ever dreamed of. We're planning to start a family right away. Oh, honey. Sienna reached for my hand. You can't save everyone. No, but I can stop him from destroying another life. My phone buzzed again. Elisa this time. Hey, what's up? Gabriel's here, at our office. My blood froze. What? He's asking for you. Says it's about the Reynolds merger. I'm on my way. I grabbed my bag, heart pounding. Sienna, go, call me after. The elevator ride to my office felt endless. When I stepped out, there he was. looking exactly as I remembered, yet somehow smaller, less intimidating. Alina. His smile was practiced, professional. You look well. Gabriel, what do you want? Direct as ever. He followed me into my office. I heard you're handling the Reynolds merger. I'd like to discuss a potential partnership. Not interested. Come on, Alina. The past is the past. We were young, things happened. Things happened? I turned to face him. Is that what you tell yourself at night? His smile hardened. I tell myself I made the right decision. Look at you now. Successful. Powerful. Would any of this have happened if I hadn't left? Get out. Think about the offer. It could be mutually beneficial. After he left, I called Jonathan. He knows, I said without preamble. He must suspect something, or he's trying to neutralize a threat before his wedding. Jonathan's voice was calm, steadying. Did you tip your hand? No, but seeing him, I took a shaky breath. It brought everything back. Come home. We'll order in, review the plan. You're not alone in this anymore, remember? That evening, surrounded by case files and half-eaten pizza, I showed Jonathan everything Jonah had revealed. The evidence is solid, he said, but the timing has to be perfect. At the wedding. I know. I picked up a photo of Andrea from the society pages. Young, beautiful, trusting. Jonathan, am I doing the right thing? He set down his papers. Let me ask you something. If someone had shown you proof of who Gabriel really was before your wedding, would you have wanted to know? Yes, I whispered. God, yes. Then you're not just getting revenge. You're doing what someone should have done years ago. He squeezed my hand. But whatever happens, I'm with you. Looking at our intertwined fingers, at the life we'd built, I felt certainty settle over me. Gabriel had walked into my office thinking he could manipulate me again, seeing only the broken woman he'd left behind. His mistake. 2 months until the wedding, I said. Time to set everything in motion. And after? I thought about Andrea, about justice, about closure. After we take that vacation to Italy you've been promising, I think I'll finally be ready. Jonathan smiled. I'll book the tickets tomorrow. The city hummed outside our windows, counting down the days until Gabriel's perfect world shattered. This time, I'd be the one walking away. Silence would no longer protect the guilty. The wedding invitation lay on my mother's kitchen table, its gold lettering catching the afternoon light. Mom set down her teacup, her expression troubled. It arrived this morning, I explained. Addressed to Ms. Alina Collins and guest. He's actually invited me to his wedding. The audacity of that man. Mom's hands trembled slightly as she picked up the invitation. Alina, sweetheart, are you absolutely certain about this? Before I could answer, the doorbell rang. Sienna walked in, carrying a stack of folders. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was horrible. She stopped short when she saw our faces. Oh, the invitation came. Perfect timing, I said, pulling out Elisa's latest reports. We need to go over the final details. Mom stood up. Before you do, I need to say something. She took my hands in hers. I've watched you rebuild your life. You're stronger than I ever imagined possible. But this plan of yours, it could backfire spectacularly. Mom, let me finish. 7 years ago, I told you karma was a patient accountant. But sometimes the cost of balancing those books is higher than we expect. Sienna sat down, spreading the files across the table. She's right, Alina. I've been doing some digging on Andrea. She's not just some society princess. She runs 3 charitable foundations, mentors underprivileged kids. She's good. And that makes it worse, I said firmly. Gabriel will destroy her, just like he tried to destroy me. The only difference is I can stop it this time. My phone rang. Elisa. I put her on speaker. You need to see this, she said without preamble. Gabriel just moved $20 million through those shell companies. The pattern matches exactly what he did before the Pacific Holdings disaster. Mom's eyes widened. What does that mean? It means he's getting sloppy, I explained, confident. The wedding's making him rush things. Or, Sienna interjected, he's setting up a trap. Think about it. The invitation, the sudden business proposal, now this? I pulled out my laptop, bringing up the evidence we'd gathered. That's why we need to move faster. Elisa, is everything ready with the SEC? Files are prepared. One word from you and it all goes live. Mom touched the screen where Gabriel's company financials glowed. All this just to stop a wedding? No, I said quietly. To stop a predator. To protect someone else from living through what I did. To finally make him face consequences. The kitchen fell silent except for the gentle hum of the laptop. Outside, a lawnmower droned, children played, life went on, normal, peaceful, untouched by the storm brewing in my mother's sunny kitchen. Sienna broke the silence. I spoke to Jonah again yesterday. He's terrified, Alina. Says Gabriel's been acting strange, making calls at odd hours. Because he knows something's coming, I said. He just doesn't know what. Or who. Mom added softly. My phone buzzed with a text from Jonathan. Andrea just called the office. Wants to discuss real estate for their new home. Meeting tomorrow? I showed the message to Sienna and Mom. Don't do it, Sienna said immediately. It's too risky. But Mom was studying my face. You're going to meet her, aren't you? I have to. I started gathering the files. I need to look in her eyes to be absolutely certain this is the right thing to do. And if it isn't? Mom's voice was gentle. Then I'll find another way. But I won't let him hurt anyone else. Sienna stood up, straightening her jacket. Then I'm coming with you. I'll sit in the lobby, just in case. I'll have Elisa on standby too, I said, hugging Mom goodbye. Everything's going to be fine. Wait. Mom disappeared into her bedroom, returning with a small box. Inside was the necklace she'd worn at my wedding to Gabriel. You left this here years ago. I think it's time you had it back. Mom, I can't. Take it. Wear it tomorrow. Remember who you were, who you are, and most importantly, who you want to become. She clasped it around my neck. Just promise me something? Anything. When this is all over, let it be over. Really over. Don't let him take any more of your life than he already has. I touched the necklace, feeling its familiar weight. I promise. Driving home that evening, the wedding invitation burning a hole in my bag, I thought about promises. The ones Gabriel broke. The ones I made to myself. And now this new one to my mother. Tomorrow, I would look into Andrea's eyes and make my final decision. The necklace caught the setting sun, throwing light across my dashboard like a warning, or perhaps a blessing. One way or another, everything would change soon. Tomorrow, the past meets the present, and the future will never be the same. I adjusted my mother's necklace in the mirror of my office bathroom, steeling myself for what was coming. Andrea would be here any minute. My phone buzzed. Sienna. In position in the lobby. You sure about this? Before I could reply, Elisa appeared in the doorway. She's here. Conference room B. I took one last look in the mirror. Showtime. Andrea stood as I entered, exactly as beautiful as her photo suggested, but with a warmth they hadn't captured. Mrs. Collins, thank you so much for meeting with me. Please call me Alina. I gestured for her to sit. I understand you're interested in the Riverside development? Yes, Gabriel and I. She stopped, laughing softly. I'm sorry. I must sound like such a bride, bringing up my fiancé in every conversation. The word bride hit like a punch to the gut. I forced a smile. Not at all. Tell me about your plans. As Andrea described their dream home, I watched her hands move animatedly, saw the light in her eyes. She was everything I'd been 7 years ago. Hopeful, in love, planning a future. Actually, she said, pulling out her phone, I'd love your opinion on something else. Our wedding venue? She showed me photos of an elegant estate, the same place where Gabriel and I had married. It's perfect, I managed. I thought so too. Gabriel was hesitant at first, said something about wanting new beginnings, but she paused, studying my face. I'm sorry, are you all right? You've gone pale. My phone buzzed. Jonah. Gabriel knows. He's on his way to your office. Get out. Mrs. Collins? Alina? I looked at Andrea's concerned face and made a split-second decision. There's something you need to see. I pulled out the file we'd prepared. Bank statements, SEC violations, photos of secret meetings. Before you marry Gabriel, you need to know who he really is. Her hands shook as she read. I don't understand. These transactions are illegal. He's been defrauding investors for years. And there's more. I told her everything. The hospital, the baby, his cruel words. With each revelation, her face grew paler. No, she whispered. He wouldn't. He's changed. He loves me. He loved me too, until I couldn't give him what he wanted. The conference room door burst open. Gabriel stood there, fury etched on his face. Get away from her. Gabriel? Andrea's voice was small. Is it true? Whatever she's told you, she's lying. She's bitter, trying to ruin our happiness. Like you ruined mine? I stood, facing him. Tell her, Gabriel. Tell her what you said to me in that hospital room. You're pathetic. He spat. 7 years and you're still not over it? Andrea stood up, gathering her papers with trembling hands. I need to think. Andrea, wait. Gabriel reached for her, but she jerked away. Don't touch me. She turned to me. Thank you for telling me. I need time. After she left, Gabriel advanced on me. You've just made the biggest mistake of your life. No, that was marrying you. I held up my phone. By the way, this entire conversation is being recorded and copied to multiple secure locations. His face contorted. You think you're so clever. You have no idea what's coming. Actually, I do. I pressed a button on my phone. Now, Elisa. The office doors opened. 2 SEC agents walked in, followed by Elisa with more files. Mr. Myers, one agent said, we need you to come with us. On what grounds? Securities fraud, for starters. The agent began reading him his rights. I watched as they led him away, his perfect facade crumbling. Jonathan appeared at my side, taking my hand. Andrea's downstairs with Sienna, he said softly. She's asking to speak with you again. Is she okay? No, but she will be, just like you were. I touched my mother's necklace. The wedding's still 2 days away. What are you thinking? I'm thinking it's time for the final act. Call Elisa's contact at the newspaper. Tell them I'm ready to talk. Jonathan squeezed my hand. Are you sure? Once this goes public, I'm sure. I looked around my office at the life I'd built from the ashes of what Gabriel destroyed. It's not just about revenge anymore. It's about truth. Your mother would be proud. She already is. I picked up my phone to call her. But first, I need to help Andrea understand she's not alone. That surviving Gabriel Myers is possible. That there's life after the fairy tale ends. Tomorrow, Gabriel's perfect world would shatter completely. But tonight, I had a different mission. Showing another woman the path forward, the way out, the strength she didn't know she had. Sometimes karma needs a little help, after all. In the echo of shattered vows, I found my voice. The grand estate where Gabriel's wedding was supposed to take place buzzed with confused guests and frantic wedding planners. Instead of wedding bells, police sirens wailed in the distance. Ms. Collins? A reporter approached, microphone extended. Can you comment on the allegations against Gabriel Myers? All the evidence has been turned over to the proper authorities, I said, the words we'd rehearsed flowing smoothly. The SEC's investigation will speak for itself. More reporters swarmed, but Jonathan appeared at my side, guiding me through the chaos. Inside the wedding hall was a scene of elegant devastation. White flowers, crystal glasses, and shocked faces everywhere. He was supposed to be here an hour ago, I heard someone whisper. Where is he? Probably in custody by now, another guest muttered. Did you see the morning papers? The front page story had broken just hours before the ceremony. Corporate fraud exposed. Prominent CEO faces criminal charges. The article detailed everything: the offshore accounts, the investor fraud, the pattern of deception. Andrea stood in a side room, still in her wedding dress, surrounded by her parents and Sienna. When she saw me, she straightened her spine. You could have just told me privately, she said. Why like this? Because private truths don't stop public predators. I moved closer. I'm sorry for the pain, but not for the truth. Her father stepped forward. Thank you. We had no idea. The foundation's money was invested with him. If this had gone through— Daddy, please, Andrea whispered. I can't think about that right now. Suddenly, a commotion erupted in the main hall. Gabriel had arrived, flanked by his lawyer and bail bondsman. His perfect suit was wrinkled, his face haggard. Andrea, he called out, let me explain. I moved to block his path, but Andrea stepped around me. No need, she said, her voice steady. The SEC explained everything. The fraud, the lies, the other women. Even what you did to Alina. That was different. I've changed. Save it for your testimony. She pulled off her engagement ring, letting it fall to the marble floor with a musical ping. I believe the prosecutors will be very interested in hearing all about your changes. Gabriel's face contorted. This is your fault, he snarled at me. You vindictive bitch. You couldn't let it go. Actually, Jonah stepped forward from the crowd. It's your fault. I gave them everything, Gabriel. Every document, every transaction, every secret meeting. It's over. The wedding guests were recording everything on their phones now. Tomorrow, this would be all over social media, Gabriel's carefully constructed image shattering in real time. You're all going down with me, Gabriel threatened. The board? The investors? No, I cut in. Just you. We made sure of that. Check your accounts, Gabriel. While you were being processed last night, the SEC froze everything. The real estate, the offshore funds, even your backup accounts in Switzerland. His face went ashen. You can't— She can, his lawyer muttered. And she did. Legally, perfectly. Now shut up before you make things worse. Andrea's father stepped forward. I believe you should leave, before I call security. As Gabriel was led away, the wedding guests began to disperse, murmuring among themselves. Andrea turned to me. How did you do it? She asked. Move on? Build a new life? One day at a time, I said, with help from people who loved me. Speaking of which, I gestured to where Sienna stood with the change of clothes. Let's get you out of that dress. Later, as the sun set over the estate, I found Jonathan waiting by our car. Ready to go home? He asked. Almost. I walked to the garden where Gabriel and I had once exchanged vows. The flowers were different now, but the view was the same. I took off my mother's necklace, looking at it one last time. What are you doing? Jonathan asked. Keeping my promise to Mom, letting it be over. I placed the necklace on a garden bench. Someone else might need it more now. Andrea appeared beside me. The reporters are gone. My parents are handling the guests. And you? She managed a small smile. I'm going to take some time. Travel. Maybe actually run those foundations properly. You're stronger than you know, I told her. Thanks to you. She hugged me quickly. Though next time, maybe just send an email? We all laughed, the sound carrying across the empty garden. As we walked away, I glanced back one last time. The necklace glinted in the fading light, a reminder of both what was lost and what was gained. Italy tomorrow? Jonathan asked as we drove away. Italy tomorrow, I agreed. I hear it's beautiful this time of year. Behind us, the estate grew smaller in the rearview mirror, along with the last remnants of Gabriel's power over my life. Ahead lay freedom, justice, and finally, peace. Vengeance was a river, but beyond its banks lay the future I had shaped. The Italian sun warmed my face as I sat in a small cafe in Florence, reading the news on my tablet. Gabriel Myers pleads guilty to multiple fraud charges, the headline declared. My phone buzzed. Elisa. Have you seen it? She asked without preamble. Reading it now? 20 years? Plus full restitution to all investors. The judge wasn't playing around. She paused. Andrea's testimony sealed it, when she revealed how he'd planned to use her family's foundation money. How is she? Good, actually. She's restructuring the foundations, doing amazing work. Says she owes you a coffee when you're back. The waiter brought my espresso as Jonathan joined me at the table, fresh from his morning run. Elisa? He mouthed. I nodded. The office misses you, she continued, though that new corporate fraud division you started before leaving is keeping us busy. That's the point. I smiled. Every predator needs a predator. After hanging up, I showed Jonathan the article. He read it quietly, then reached for my hand. How do you feel? Before I could answer, my mother's FaceTime call came through. Her face filled the screen, kitchen visible behind her. Did you see? She asked. It's finally over. Not over, I corrected, just transformed into something better. Speaking of transformation, Jonathan pulled out an envelope. Remember that property we looked at yesterday? The old villa? The one that needs complete renovation? What about it? He slid papers across the table. It's ours, or it can be if you want it. I stared at the deed. You didn't think about it. A European office for the firm, focusing on international corporate fraud cases, helping other people fight back against the Gabriels of the world. Mom was still on FaceTime, beaming. Say yes, sweetheart. You've spent enough time looking backward. Time to build something new. My phone buzzed again. A text from Andrea. Just testified. It's done. Thank you for showing me the way out. And the way forward. I looked at the deed, at Jonathan's hopeful face, at my mother's proud smile on the screen. The morning sun caught my wedding ring. Not the one Gabriel had given me, but the one Jonathan had slipped on my finger, promising to support my dreams, not cage them. Well, Jonathan prompted, the villa needs a lot of work, I said slowly. The foundation's crumbling, the wiring's ancient, but the bones are good. He grinned, like someone else I know. You're impossible. But I was already reaching for the pen. That's why you love me. He watched me sign. So, partner, ready to build something new? Mom wiped tears from her eyes. Your father would be so proud, honey. Not just of what you accomplished, but of who you've become. Speaking of becoming, Jonathan's voice turned serious. There's something else we need to discuss. He pulled out another envelope. Inside was a sonogram. The doctor called while you were having breakfast, he said softly. Everything looks perfect. My hand flew to my stomach, still flat, but containing a secret we'd been afraid to hope for. After what happened with Gabriel, I'd thought this dream was dead too. Mom? My voice shook. You're going to be a grandmother. Her joyful sob echoed through the phone. Oh, my baby. We're thinking of naming her Susan, Jonathan said, after her grandmother who taught her mother about karma and patience. Mom couldn't speak, just nodded through her tears. After ending the call, I looked out over Florence's ancient streets. Somewhere in America, Gabriel sat in a cell, his empire in ruins. But here, under the Tuscan sun, new life was blooming. In my body, in the villa we would transform, in the work we would do. You know what this means? Jonathan asked, hand resting on mine. What? We're going to need a bigger office in that villa, for the little one's playroom. I laughed, really laughed, the sound echoing off centuries-old stones. One project at a time. Says the woman who took down a corporate criminal while planning an international expansion. True. I picked up my espresso. To new beginnings? To karma, he countered. And to the beautiful warrior who helped it along. The morning sun painted Florence gold, promising endless possibilities. Gabriel had taught me about endings, but Jonathan had shown me the power of beginnings. Now, with our child growing beneath my heart and a new mission taking shape, I finally understood. The best revenge wasn't destruction. It was creation. To the future, I said, raising my cup. All of it.